Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a topic that quite literally surrounds us. It shapes our daily lives, often without us even noticing the plastic problem. Our mission today isn't just about, telling you what's happening. We want to cut through all the noise, the information overload, and really pull out the most important, surprising, and frankly, actionable insights for you. Because let's be honest, plastics are just everywhere. In your coffee cup this morning, probably in the clothes you're wearing, the device you might be listening on right now, we see plastic and, well, we often think of it as one simple thing, don't we? Like just this benign, convenient material.
Yeah.
But that couldn't be further from the truth, apparently.
No, exactly. And what's truly fascinating here, and maybe a bit unsettling, is precisely that complexity you mentioned. Plastics aren't monolithic at all, not even close. Think of them more like a vast chemical soup.
A soup, okay.
Yeah. They contain not just a few, but literally thousands of different chemical additives. Thousands. In fact, scientists estimate there are over 16,000 such additives used globally.
16,000. Wow.
And these aren't just minor ingredients. They're kind of the secret sauce, They give plastics their specific properties.
Right.
So, for example, you've got phthalates. They're added to make plastics soft and flexible. Think kids' toys or food packaging.
Okay.
Then you have flame retardants.
Yeah.
Put in to stop things catching fire, which, sounds good on the surface.
Sounds helpful, yeah.
But they come with their own set of issues. And, of course, the infamous PFAS.
The forever chemicals.
Exactly. They get that name because, well, they simply don't break down. Not in the environment, not easily anyway.
16,000 chemicals. That number alone is just startling. And you called it the secret sauce for properties, but then immediately hinted at problems. So what's the flip side of all that convenience? Where does it get really interesting or maybe concerning?
Oh, it gets deeply concerning when you start looking at the health implications.
Yeah.
For humans, for wildlife.
Yeah.
Many of these chemicals are directly linked to toxic effects. Take phthalates again.
Okay.
They can disrupt hormones. Now imagine your body's natural chemical messengers, the ones controlling everything from metabolism to mood, suddenly getting scrambled or blocked.
Right, like interference on the line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what hormone disruption can do. And PFAS, they even associate with some really serious health issues, certain cancers, immune system problems. And what's truly insidious about some of these, it isn't just that they're toxic. It's that many are designed to actually mimic our body's own natural hormones.
We're into them.
Yeah, so they can subtly reprogram our biology, sometimes from very early in development, like in the womb, without us ever realizing it's happening.
Wow, that's incredibly eye-opening, especially that idea of chemicals sort of quietly reprogramming us. And speaking of things that are everywhere but maybe poorly understood, we hear so much about microplastics and nanoplastics. Are these the same thing as those additives? Or is this a separate but, related problem? And how do these tiny particles affect our health? How does this hit our daily lives?
Yeah, that's a crucial distinction to make. Microplastics and nanoplastics are different from the chemical additives, although importantly, they can carry those additives along with them.
Okay.
So microplastics are simply tiny pieces of plastic.
Yeah.
The definition is generally less than 5 millimeters in size. Think smaller than a pencil eraser.
Right.
They mostly come from larger plastic items breaking down over time, sunlight, water action, but also from things like synthetic clothing, shedding fibers when you wash it.
Oh, wow. Laundry.
Yep. And nanoplastics. They're even smaller, operating on the nanometer scale. So tiny, they're practically invisible, even under like a standard microscope.
Wait, so when you say nanometer scale, you mean we can't see these, even with a magnifying glass? How do we even know they're there?
Exactly. We need advanced scientific detection methods to find them. What's really striking is just how ubiquitous they've become. They are literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
In the air we breathe, the food we eat, even the water we drink, bottled water, tap water.
Goodness.
They get into our bodies primarily through ingestion, eating seafood that consume plastic, or maybe particles transferring from packaging to food, or through inhalation, breathing them in.
Okay.
And research is showing they can accumulate in various organs. We're talking lungs, intestines. And some studies even suggest they might cross the blood-brain barrier.
The brain. Seriously?
It's an area of active research, but yes, there's concern. Now, the full scope of their health effects is still being studied intensively. A lot of the science is evolving. Many studies are lab-based or use animal models.
Right. Still early days in some ways.
In some ways, yes. But the early evidence suggests potential issues like inflammation, disruption of the gut microbiome.
Which is super important for overall health.
Like,
right?
hugely important. It affects everything from digestion to our immune system. And there's worry about potentially increased risks of diseases like cancer or infertility down the line. So while the science is developing, there is a growing consensus among researchers. You see it in respected journals like The Lancet. They're highlighting plastics as a, quote, significant and under-recognized threat to both human health and the environment.
So, okay, we've gone from the chemicals inside the plastic to the tiny bits it breaks into and how they get inside us and potentially mess with our systems. It paints, a pretty stark picture. But, as with many environmental or health claims, the plastics industry itself often pushes back.
Right. Absolutely.
How have they responded to these mounting concerns, and why do their tactics sometimes seem so effective?
Well, if you look at the bigger picture, the industry responses often mirror tactics we've seen before. Think tobacco, think fossil fuels.
Ah, the classic playbook.
Pretty much. Their playbook is often quite clear. They tend to claim the risks are exaggerated. They emphasize any scientific uncertainty, which, as we just said, is normal in evolving fields, but they leverage it.
Right. So doubt.
Exactly. And they lobby very hard against regulations.
Yeah.
What's particularly insightful about their approach is how they also use extensive advertising campaigns, promoting plastics as easily recyclable, totally safe.
Even though recycling is often problematic.
Very problematic for many types of plastic, yes. But the message gets out there. It's not just marketing. It's often a deliberate strategy to create a kind of misleading perception, public confusion. And in some cases, they've even taken legal action against environmental groups or scientists who raise concern.
Really? Legal action?
Yes. The consequence of all these tactics, often it leads to widespread public confusion. And that, in turn, delays necessary policy actions. It slows down the kind of change that could really make a difference.
It definitely sounds like they're playing a long game, kind of creating this smokescreen. But if the science is becoming clearer, why do you think these sort of denial or delay tactics still work so effectively on the public sometimes?
That's a great question. I think part of it is the sheer convenience and ubiquity of plastic. It's hard to imagine modern life without it. And the industry narrative taps into that, offering reassurance, however misleading.
Makes sense. So given all this pushback, this complex situation, does it mean any real sweeping change is impossible? Is there any hope on a bigger global scale?
Well, actually, yes. There is some positive news on that front. Despite the powerful industry pushback, there's a really significant global effort underway right now.
Ugh. Tell me more.
Currently, over 170 countries are negotiating a global plastics treaty. This is happening under the United Nations framework.
A global treaty? That sounds huge.
It is huge. A massive undertaking. And the goal is ambitious. Regulate the entire life cycle of plastic.
The whole thing, from start to finish.
It's exactly. From their initial production, how they're used, all the way through to disposal and dealing with the waste. This includes really concrete proposals, like banning or restricting the most harmful additives we talked about.
Okay.
Increasing transparency, so we actually know what chemicals are in the plastics we use, and promoting safer, more sustainable alternatives.
That sounds incredibly promising, but difficult, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. It's not without its challenges. The negotiations have been, let's say, difficult. There's definite resistance from some major fossil fuel producing countries.
Because plastic production is tied to fossil fuels.
Deeply tied. So they often cite economic concerns about stricter measures. It's a really complex dance between environmental health and, powerful economic interests.
Right. Okay, it's definitely good to hear there's a global push, a potential treaty in the works, even with those hurdles. But while these negotiations are happening, and they could take time, right? What practical steps can you, our listener, take right now, like today, to reduce your exposure and maybe protect your health a bit more beyond just the usual reduce, reuse, recycle? What's something maybe more impactful that people might overlook?
Yeah, that's key. Because awareness is always the first step toward change, right? And there are concrete, actionable things you can do. So beyond the obvious reusables, bags, bottles, food containers, which are great, keep doing that one truly impactful, yet often overlooked step is to reconsider how you heat your food.
Heating food? How so?
Microwaving in plastic, especially older containers, or using plastic wrap that touches the food. Heat can cause those very chemical additives we discussed, phthalates, BPA, others to leach out directly into your meal.
Oh, wow. So my healthy leftovers might not be so healthy if I nuke them in plastic.
Potentially, yes. The rate of leaching can increase dramatically with heat. So, a simple switch. Use glass or ceramic containers for heating food. That's a big one.
Simple, but makes sense. What else?
Also, try to choose products labeled as free from known harmful additives when you can. Look for BPA-free, phthalate-free. It's not always easy. Labels can be confusing, but it's worth looking.
Okay.
And beyond just what you buy or use, supporting legislation is crucial. Pushing for policies that demand safer chemical use, better transparency, and improved waste management systems.
So using your voice as a citizen.
Absolutely. Your voice in advocating for stronger policies truly matters. It contributes to that larger shift we need. So yeah, while plastics, look, they undeniably revolutionized modern life. They offered immense convenience. We can't ignore that. But they're largely unregulated use, particularly with those, thousands of chemical additives and the micro and nanoparticles they break into, poses real significant risks to our health and into the planet. Moving forward, we really need collective action. That means scientists doing the research, governments setting regulations, industries innovating safer materials, and us as consumers making informed choices and demanding change. Ultimately, protecting ourselves in this whole context, it really means protecting future generations and the planet we all share.
That's a powerful summary. It really leaves us with a lot to think about, doesn't it? Given just how pervasive plastics are and all the complexities involved in tackling this issue, it makes you wonder, how might our daily choices, even the small ones, actually contribute to that bigger shift towards a healthier, more sustainable future? What stands out to you listening right now as maybe the most impactful change we could make together? Something to think about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Stay informed, keep asking questions, and keep learning.